Holly Drew for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm joined by Adam Booth. Hello again. We spoke last week, so it's not been long, but we're in now one day before Micheal Conlan's comeback fight. He's just weighed in. He looked fantastic on the scales. How has this week been?
Like a normal fight week. There's been no drama. Touch some wood. There's been no drama, and that's what you can hope for a fight week prior to fight night.
Now, Micheal, as we said, looking great on scales. Has he been different this fight week? It is a comeback fight. This is going to be his first comeback fight. So has he been different? Have you noticed any changes in him before this fight?
No. He's mixed experience, experience at the highest level internationally, and has now got a lot of experiences as a pro. But no, he just seems to be the normal Micheal Conlan. If he didn't seem normal, I would consider that a little bit of a drama, and so I would have said no, not happy about fight week. But no, I am. He's fine.
And we got Miguel, who, I mean, his record, we've been saying it all week, so he's got more knockouts on his record than Mick has had pro fights, which is a crazy statistic. Does that say a lot about Mick, the fact that he's taken this fight, and it's such a tough comeback fight for him? Is that the character of Micheal Conlan, that he isn't going to just take anyone, an easy fight for the comeback fight?
Mick's spirit is exceptionally strong, and the loss in his last fight has done nothing to dent that. If anything, it's made it, it's galvanised it more. And Mick knows, as I've said before, he's a small step away from being world champion, and he knows that there was a couple of painful lessons from the last fight, and he is a character that needs stimulus, he needs challenge, he needs stress to bring the best out of him. He's proven that pretty much his whole boxing life, and so anything other than a threat like a Marriaga is potentially running the risk of not stimulating him enough. It's absolutely the right type of opponent to get Mick's focus, to get his attention, and to make him perform.
Are you expecting a good night tomorrow night? It's going to be entertaining. Obviously, there's going to be a huge crowd coming over. We're in Belfast. There's a lot of Irish fighters on the card. It's going to be a big night.
It is, yeah. I mean, but and it's great for Conlan boxing. But I'm focused on Mick and Kurt and making sure that they do their jobs.
You mentioned Kurt, that's Kurt Walker. He is back in action. He's such an exciting prospect. Everyone's talking about him. Does he get any pressure with that? There is a lot of eyes on him. Do you notice that he feels any pressure with that?
No, Doug. He seems to be immune to anything that may either pressure him, worry him, or concern him. He's almost like a 3-year-old child that hasn't got a care in the world, and it's beautiful to watch, and I hope he always stays like that.
What do you think? He does seem like nothing bothers him at all, nothing phases him. He's just doesn't even get too excited. He's just mellow the whole time. What do you think it is about him that's got people so excited about his career and the prospects that come for him?
I don't know, if I'm honest. I always just look at the fighter that turns up at my gym. He's definitely got some good amateur experience and some good elements, but he's a work in progress with a long way to go. So I'm not at the point where I listen to what people are celebrating about him. I'm too busy looking at, okay, these are all the things he needs to add to become as good a fighter as he can, and he's still got a long way to go.
Last week, you had two fighters again in action on last week's show. We'll start off Harlem Eubank. It was a bit of a strange fight. The ending, the disqualification, there was an illegal punch. How did you feel that Harlem dealt with the fight as a whole? Because he had a lot of adversity to deal with in that.
Well, he had certain adversity. The first challenge he had was that the guy was very long-armed with heavy hands, and Harlem had to get used to using a little bit more energy in, putting more on his jab, putting more on his right hand, working from a slightly longer distance to technically do something, and that in itself took more energy than he may have wanted to expend. But that's the experience, you're not going to get to the top without having these little stresses. So that was always, almost like the planned stress for him. What we didn't plan for is for that confusion between the ref and the opponent that meant that Harlem took 2 clean shots after a break call. And the second one was heavy. Remember, Harlem had dropped his hands. He completely relaxed and was starting to look away when the shots landed, and it hurt him, and he had to deal with it. And that's, you can't. It's almost like you can't prescribe that. But Harlem is so composed, and he's been through some real fire in the gym, and he's had a baptism of fire in the gym sometimes in his learning curve, that I think all of that helped him keep a grip of himself in that difficult moment. And I'm proud of him. I really am proud of him, because I thought the way that he dealt with it and the way that he absorbed that experience, and even afterwards in the hotel room, the way he was talking about it, it was almost like, okay, that happened, but there was a nothingness to it. And that's, for me, that's an absolute joy to see.
Yeah, he did handle it very well in the ring. As a coach, you got a little bit animated outside of the ring, understandably. How difficult is that for you to deal with? At that point, you can't do anything about it. You don't know how Harlem's going to deal with it. How do you find that as a coach?
Well, I have to do my job, and if that means putting a bit of pressure on the referee or putting a bit of pressure on officials and letting them know that this type of thing isn't going to just quietly go away. I thought he should have been disqualified the first time. I think the referee should have made a judgment. Here's the thing that I've thought about. If a fighter gets knocked down and he's under normal circumstances and gets up and he says to the referee, "I'm okay to continue," the referee looks at him, thinks he's not okay to continue, stops the fight. That's not up to the fighter. That's up to the referee, right? So why, when there's an illegal foul knockdown where the fighter's hurt, is the responsibility on the fighter? Because the referee said, are you fit to continue? And every fighter with pride will say yes, whether they're hurt or not. I believe it was still for the referee to make an assessment, to realise, no, actually that still has had an effect on him, I'm disqualifying him. But I think the referee kind of took the easy route there and put the responsibility on Harlem. And here's the thing, what happens if Harlem then is hurt? The fella's in the other corner revving himself up like a bull. The referee says box on, the guy comes over, catches Harlem again, the referee thinks and then he stops the fight in the favour of the other fella. It could have caused a whole big problem. But Harlem got the ref out of it by getting a grip of himself, taking responsibility for the situation and dealing with it. And I think the confusion and the pressure on the referee, that as soon as the fella touched him late the second time, it was irrelevant how hard or soft it was, the fight was done.
Going forward, that type of fight will just serve Harlem with experience and do him well for future fights. Anything, we hope nothing like that will happen again, but you just never know. All
experience, if you understand it, absorb it, and can subconsciously use whatever that experience that is in the future, is good experience. And sometimes they can be really painful, and other times not so much. But no, I'll repeat myself, I'm immensely proud how he dealt with it, and I'm absolutely convinced that those little moments only make him a better fighter.
Now moving to Josh Kelly, who got the win. He was headlining. Having had a week now to reflect on his performance, how did you think he did in that?
I thought he did well. His first comeback fight was about as comfortable as a comeback fight gets. We know that we needed someone much more live to push him on and bring more out of him as part of his career rehabilitation. And I thought Bastida did exactly that. He was up for it. In his eye, the only loss he had was on a cut. So in his eyes, he was unbeaten. He's young, fresh, big dude, was there to win. And you could tell that energetically, not just technically, he was there to try and test Josh. So Josh had to deal with it technically and energetically, so it wasn't a fake win. It wasn't an easy win. And I thought, for the most part, he did a great job. There was a clash of heads in the second round that had an effect on him a little bit. He dealt with that. Then there was the cut eye. He dealt with that. And I thought, all in all, it was an essential 10-rounder for Josh to keep moving forward.
How was Josh straight after the fight? There was meant to be a presser, which didn't happen, and no one spoke to Josh after the fight. What actually happened in the moments following the fight? He had to obviously get the cuts seen to, but what was going on there?
Well, that was it. It was the stitches, and like there's a lot of times where I've seen fighters get stitched up in a hurry, and because there's so much else going on, and the stitches actually aren't that good, or they're not cleaned out because there's too much commotion going on. And I wanted to make sure that the doctor could do it, and there was no interruption. Doctor did a fantastic job, but you've got to remember, we need to get his adrenaline down as well. We need to slow his pulse rate. And buzzing around doing interviews because people want to talk to him after the fight, that can wait. He did his Channel 5 interview. For me, the priority was making sure that we dealt with the cut, so that there wasn't, something further down the line that was a problem.
And Troy Williamson was there. They both said they want the fight. It was amicable between them. They seem to be friends. That fight going to happen next?
Yep, great matchup.
It will be a great fight. You've got a busy stable. You've had a lot of fights recently. Is there any more fighters in action, or are you going to get a bit of a break now?
No, I think after tomorrow there's a little 2 or 3 week window where I can get back out on the golf course and show Josh Kelly who's boss.
Okay, are you quite competitive in terms of golf?
Oh, on the golf course it's like open game, yeah. There's no coach-boxer relationship in that one.
Nice. So you're going to get a few weeks off, and then back to the grind.
Yeah, and I'm expecting the rest of the year and next year to be pretty full on. So yeah, some golf, a little bit of sleep, and then some coffee.
Well, enjoy the few weeks rest anyway after tomorrow night, and best of luck for tomorrow night.
Thank you. Yes.